Let's have a look at the starting grid for race 2 of the meeting, Heat 2, X30 Senior, Groups C versus D. On pole position, representing Belgium, will be Matthijs van der Kerkhoff, who will be joined by Zem van der Heyden from the Netherlands on the front row. It's an all-Belgian row 2 with Yanni Bouillet and Luca Moulard. Annabel Bryan and Marcus Gloom round out row number 3. Marcus is of course related to Charlie Gloom, who was out in the previous race. Dinan de Vos joined by Raphaël Boulard on row number 4. And then in row 5, thereby completing the top 10, Luca Montebello in the 228 and the 201 of Mirko Wouters. Wouter Bergano and Noor van Vonveld will round out row number 6. Roxanne Lantinga will be joined by Leon Leinsveld on row 7. Row 8, Mathis Renet and Gaspar Delbar. Kaz Orthaus will be joined on row 9 with Hugo van der Velden. And on row 10, completing the 20-strong grid, Mathis Marchaut and Zino Falca, representing Belgium and Germany. And of course, for those that don't remember the last driver who went through MP Motorsport and ended up in a Formula One seat, that particular driver was none other than Argentina's Franco Colapinto, who ended up replacing Logan Sargent for the remainder of last year's FIA Formula One World Championship with Williams, and has now been signed on a multi-year agreement with Alpine as a test and reserve driver. Of course, Alpine running Pierre Gasly and new recruit from Australia, former test driver at Alpine, Jack Doohan, the son of legendary motorbike racer Mick Doohan. So just goes to show that if someone like Franco Colapinto can make it through the ranks of MP Motorsport, whoever ends up doing the Formula 4 test day and gets an opportunity to race with MP Motorsport, well, it can definitely be worth your while with their wealth of experience through a lot of feeder series single-seater categories. I've also seen the likes of Owen Tangavellu and Javier Segrera in Euro Cup 3 last year. So MP Motorsport, another one of the big powerhouses in feeder series single-seater racing. Okay, into the tram lines we go. Van der Kerkhoff and Van der Heyden on the front row. Drivers are, revs up, lights out. We are underway. And a good start by Matthijs van der Kerkhoff. Van der Heyden tried to go wheel to wheel, but Yanni Bouillet trying to get through. Oh, and it's a scramble and a dogfight just underneath the top 10. It was 4-5 wide coming out of turn 1, and the scramble continues out of 2. Got to be very, very careful. Zino Falca in the 249 for Larea GT1 Racing, making up a handful of places. Mathis Marchaut finds himself moving up, and he's ahead of the German as Van der Kerkhoff leads the way coming out of Chemin de Fer. It is elbows out, and every driver for themselves heading into Escargot. A very frantic first lap, but everyone keeping it on the black stuff at the meantime. Also another driver that has made it into Formula One, but not into a full-time seat, Felipe Drugovich. But there you see Mathis Marchaut on a tear. Zem van der Heyden trying to get through, and I think has retaken second place on Yanni Bouillet. Mathis Marchaut now up 6 spots. From 19th at the start, now running P13 behind Leon Leinsveld, who's made up 2 places in his own right. Drivers making their way through into T4. And Kaz Orthaus all the way down into 20th position. The field completely covered by just shy of 9.9 seconds. Bit of a dive bomb into Chemin de Fer. There's contact, there's wheel banging. And, well, that just goes to show how quickly things can turn around on its head. So that was definitely a victory lane coloured kart that I saw diving in to there. There's more argy-bargy coming out of the final right-hander and up the hill into the straightaway. So I think it was Luca Moulard that might have been a bit robust. Wasn't quite 100% sure, tried to pick out the numbers, but with just under 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go, plus an additional lap, Matthijs van der Kerkhoff has a lead over Sven van der Heyden, and that's 1.1 seconds. There's the 2-2-4. Roxane Lantinga, younger sister to Kevin, who's battling away with Wouter Bergano. Bergano's made up 7 places, and Annabelle has made up 8. She started 13th. She has a preference for the Tony Kart chassis, whereas brother Kevin prefers running on a Croc Promotion chassis. And here comes the move, does it? Yes, it does. Oh, bit of a slide there from Wouter Bergano. And Roxane Lantinga did not need a second invitation to send it up the inside. Saw that there was a little bit of pressure she could put on Wouter Bergano, and it was textbook. It was well executed, and Roxane Lantinga now has an opportunity to catch up to the drivers in front. Yanni Bouillet, last time around, was about 1.8 seconds up the road. And Lantinga was a 10th quicker on the opening sector that time. Marcus Gloom, however, has struck trouble and has ended up parking it after 2 laps. So a real shame for the number 210. Matthijs van der Kerkhoff continues to lead, but Sven van der Heyden trying to close that gap. It's now expanded to the best part of nearly 1.4 seconds. Van der Kerkhoff now has the new fastest lap of the race, 56.665, as we head into the final 6 minutes plus an additional lap. So at the minute, it is more the case of Matthijs van der Kerkhoff leads the way. Sven van der Heyden in second. Yanni Bouillet now third, 2 seconds ahead of Roxane Lantinga. Wouter Bergano, Mirko Wouters, Luca Montebello. Mathis Marchalt on an absolute tear, setting personal best after personal best, now up 11 spots and is in 8th place, and may even in the next 5.25 minutes, plus an additional lap to start going after Montebello, Wouters, Bergano et al. But Matthijs van der Kerkhoff has a very comfortable grasp onto the lead of this race. So halfway through and 5 minutes plus a lap to go. So the jury's out on who might provide a little bit of a surprise as some of the drivers make their way. Right, okay, first in-race penalty of the event has been served, and that is for the 382, I believe. Leon Leinsveld, currently running in 10th place. 3-second time penalty, 2 wheels out of the tram lines for the driver from the Netherlands. Won his weight class in KA 100 in the Yamaha Series Benelux last year. As more to the point, well, you can just see the battles are fast, they are frantic. Roxane Lantinga has pulled away from Wouter Bergano, who's just had, I think that was Mirko Wouters up the inside. Luca Montebello now looking for the opportunity to get through, so Mirko Wouters running in that distinctive high visibility livery for Eichmann's Grand Prix. Eichmann's Grand Prix, who helped Eddie Goldstein to 4 titles in X30 Senior in Yamaha Series Benelux. And, well, Ellie now moving up, has moved into KZ with the official TB Factory Kart team. Mathis Marchalt, fastest lap of anybody in this race, 56.249, and is not giving up yet. There's still time to try and close that gap. And Mathis Marchalt is now only 2.5 seconds behind Luca Montebello. There's still an opportunity. Montebello is starting, well, Montebello last time around did a 56.807. Mathis Marchalt did a 56.250. 1/1000th slower than his fastest lap of the race. And that just goes to show you put Matthias Mirschaut into a difficult situation and he will literally rise to the challenge. And that's another place lost by Wouter Bergano as Luca Montebello has got through. So Montebello now through for what is 6th place. And whilst they've been scrapping, there has been an opportunity for Matthias Mirschaut to close on in. And Mirschaut, oh my goodness me, took nearly a second out of Wouter Bergano. He did a 36 in the first sector alone, did a 36.8 in sector 1, a 19.1 in sector 2, and he's got that gap down to about 1.5 seconds. So Wouter Bergano is fast becoming a target that Matthias Mirschaut is happy to chase. And there is Sem van der Heyden, who is trying to close in on Matthias van der Kerkhoff. The gap between the top three, rounded out by Yanni Bouillet. It was 8.5 tenths between the three of them. Matthias Mirschaut has done the first sub-56-second lap time I think I've seen all day long. 55.964, and he's taken nearly another, nearly half a second out of Wouter Bergano. And Luca Montebello's got to watch his backside as well, because Montebello, Bergano and Mirschaut were covered by 1.5 seconds. Another new fastest lap by the 250 for KCR Racing. He is absolutely flying, and who's not to say in the next minute plus an additional lap, can we see something spectacular from the Belgian? So next time around, we'll go on to our penultimate lap of our second X30 senior race of this inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series. And they'll be back in action tomorrow morning at 11:45 for their third and fourth heats, where we switch it out between groups A, B, C and D. And Matthias Mirschaut now is within striking distance. Wouter Bergano has got to watch his rear bumper because he could see a flash of red and yellow fly past him. The same could be said for Matthias van der Kerkhoff as we now count it down to 0. Van der Heyden has an opportunity. They come out of Chemin de Fer. It's this plus one more lap to go. And they have slightly dropped Yanni Bouillet. Oh, we've got Raphael Boulard stopped, and that is on the marshal post off of the penultimate right-hander. But they're back under green flag racing conditions through the final right. One more lap to go. Can van der Kerkhoff fend off Van der Heyden for the race lead? And more importantly, as we've got about 1,150 metres to go for the victory. So through turn number 2, if Van der Heyden gets a good lineup coming out of the final right-hander and up the hill over the crest through the Piff-Paff chicane and across the stripe, I think van der Kerkhoff knows, he can sense it. He can sense that Sem van der Heyden could strike at any moment, but it won't be into Chemin de Fer at this particular juncture. They now go through into the escargot section. Handful of corners remain, and Matthias van der Kerkhoff has led from lights out, and he could do the same up until the checkered flag, because we are coming to the end of the race itself. Through the final right-hander, up the hill, the driver from Victory Lane starts to accelerate, and Matthias van der Kerkhoff does exactly the same as Kevin Lantinga and wins the race, starting from pole position, from lights out to checkered. Matthias van der Kerkhoff, the 236 from Belgium, finishes ahead of Sem van der Heyden after 12 laps by just 4 tenths. Yanni Bouillet makes it another driver in the top 3, covered by 1.262 seconds. Roxanne Lantinga takes 9 places to finish 4th ahead of Mirko Wouters. Luca Montebello moves up into 6th. Matthias Mirschaut has now been promoted to 7th. Now this is because Luca Moulard got pinged with a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. So Luca Moulard was the driver that sent it up the inside through into Chemin de Fer, and then the chain reaction, the domino effect of contact between side pods and sidewalls occurred. So that means Marchalt, the biggest gainer of the race, 12 places to finish 7th ahead of Wouter Bergano, Dinan de Vos, and Germany's Sino Falca, who makes up 10 places to round out the provisional top 10. Noel van Vroonveld, Leon Leinsveld, Luca Moulard, Mathis Renet, Gaspar Delbar, Kaz Orthaus, and Hugo van der Velden round out the provisional finishing order for the top 17. There is the Charles Leclerc chassis, the one stricken for Raphael Boulard, that will be recovered. There is the 2-2-1 of Van der Velden going into pit lane. Marcus Gloom out on lap 2 and Annabelle Bryan out on the opening lap. But one win for Kevin Lantinga, one win for Matthias van der Kerkhoff, as we'll see X30 Senior back in action tomorrow morning. Next up, it's going to be our first heat for Yami Mini for Karting Champions League Winter Series action here in January 2025.